Hello and welcome to the Handmaid Book Club. Today I want to talk about 25 books that I would like to read in 2025. Obviously there are so many more books that I would like to read next year and in my lifetime, but I have to draw the limit somewhere, so 25 seems like a good number. It's still a pretty high number and I don't want this video to be an hour long, so I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly and I'm not gonna go into like synopsis or anything like that. I am hoping to participate in some challenges for next year. My own reading challenge, my diversity book bingo, is one of them, and then I would also like to participate in some other prompt challenges that are also like year long. I think that will suit me better than the like month or week long reading challenges. I just get stressed out by the deadline, but a year seems like plenty of time and I can, whatever. So my point about the challenges was that some of these books might align with one of them, either my own diversity challenge or some other reading challenge that I would like to participate in. And like, that's not the reason I chose these books, but there might be some like overlap with those things. So anyways, on my list of 25 books, I have 10 that I own and 15 that I will borrow from the library. And if I like any of them, I might buy them, but I'm going to read them from the library first. And then I have 5 bonus books that I'll mention at the end that aren't maybe as like high priority, but I don't know, I didn't want to leave them out. Let's just get started. So the first book is The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. I've been wanting to read this for a long time, I feel like. It's relatively new, so like not that long, but yeah, ever since I saw people talking about this, I was like, that's a book for me. There's a crime that happens in a community with Jewish immigrants and African Americans, and they live side by side and there are secrets, and it just sounds very good to me. And it's so pretty. I love the cover of this, and yeah, I'm hoping to get to this in 2025. This is top priority. The next book I purchased at the same time as The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store, and this is Forgotten on Sunday by Valerie Perrin. This is translated from French. It's about a woman who works in a nursing home and she hears the stories of the residents, in particular a woman who lives there. And yeah, I'm just very intrigued by this and I would like to read it. The next one is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in the springtime sometime of this year and I really enjoyed it, and so I would like to read more books by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and this is one that I own, so that's why I want to read this. It seems like a fun time and I need some fun books. And yeah, this is one of them. And then we have My Sister the Serial Killer by Oinkan Braithwaite. I've just heard not amazing things, but I'm just intrigued by the title and the premise of this book, with a woman and her sister is a serial killer and then there's like a love triangle kind of thing. It just seems like a scary, fun time, but like not too scary for me, maybe just like darkly funny. I've just seen this book around a lot. I found it secondhand and I want to know what it's about, so this is on my list as well. The next one is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, and this is a African classic that apparently people read in school. I had never heard of this before. I just found it in a charity shop and it sounded interesting to me, so I picked it up. And yeah, it's a Swedish translation and I would love to get to this in 2025. The next one is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. This has been on my TBR for years and I just haven't had the emotional capacity to read it. But I feel like 2025 is the year. I just really want to have read this already. I'm expecting it to be heavy and difficult and emotional. But yeah, I just want to read it. And yeah, now is the time. I also have The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro. This is just a title that I have heard mentioned so many times, I feel like. but I've never read the book, and I found it secondhand and I picked it up and I want to read it in 2025. The next one I would like to get to is The Mountains Sing by Nguyen Van Nguyen Mai. This is set in Vietnam, and I don't think I've ever read anything set in Vietnam or by a Vietnamese author, and I just feel like it's an area of the world that I know very little about, and I would like to know more. And this story seems very interesting. It's a little girl and her grandmother who is telling her stories to sort of keep her calm during the war, and yeah, I just think it sounds like a beautiful story and I would like to read it next year. The next one on my list is Detransition Baby by Tori Peters. I bought this last spring as well. I just think it sounds very intriguing. It sounds like it's funny and emotional and insightful, and yeah, I'm just very intrigued and I am determined to read this in 2025. The last book that I own that I want to read in 2025 is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I have seen the TV adaptation of this and loved the show. It's horrifying and very emotional, but I would like to read the book, and I know some people don't like the like the adaptation on the book cover. I don't personally mind it. I really loved the cinematography in the show, so I don't mind having that like visual, and I think this cover is kind of discreet as well. It isn't like a whole scene from the adaptation, so yeah, I think that's fine. This is another heavy one, but I would really like to have read this and not just seen the show, so yeah, this is on my list as well. So those are the 10 books that I own that I would like to read, and let's get into the 15 books that I am going to get from my local library. First up is Bunny by Mona Awad. This sounds like an amazing book to me and like one that I would really enjoy. I've heard so many amazing things about it, and especially from people who enjoy similar kinds of books that I enjoy. And so yeah, I'm very curious to find out what I think of it. And yeah, it just pops up on lists everywhere, and yeah, I just really want to read it. So that's why it's on my list. Next is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and I feel a bit weird saying that, like right after Bunny. There's a great variation on this list, so they're all here for different reasons. To Kill a Mockingbird I read in school sometime, and I remember loving it then, and I would like to reread it as an adult, and so why not in 2025? And then we have another jump to a completely different genre, and the book I want to read is The Appeal by Janice Hallett. I just feel a bit all over the place with these books, but yeah, they all sound really good to me, and I like having a variation in my reading, so yeah. This is a mixed media kind of mystery, and I think that sounds like so much fun. We play these like murder mystery games sometimes that you can get with like different clues and things, and you have to solve the case, and this book sounds like similar to that to me. So yeah, I'm very curious to try Janice Hallett's books, and if I like this one, I know there are more of them, and yeah, I'm just very intrigued and excited to try one. The next one on my list is Educated by Tara Westover. This is a nonfiction memoir that I have just been wanting to read for a long time. It sounds very fascinating. I'm always interested in cults and any kind of communities with a lot of restrictions. I just find that fascinating, and this has a very good rating, and people say that it's very good, so I want to read it. And the same goes for the next book, which is Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, who I just today learned is a woman. I was completely convinced that it was a man. The name just sounded like a man to me, but it's a woman. So now I'm even more intrigued to read the book, which is about indigenous knowledge about nature and how that aligns with modern science and things like that. I'm just very intrigued. I've heard very good things, and I want to read it already. And then, like I said, there's a variation of books on this list. Next, we have Fight Club by Chuck Palahniuk. I've seen and loved the movie, and I would really like to read the book. I'm very curious to see the similarities and like what more there is to the book compared to the movie, and I want to watch the movie again and all of that. So yeah, this is one that I would like to get to in 2025. The next one is The Only One Left by Riley Sager. I am on a hunt for a good thriller. The ones that I've read this year have not been very good at all, and this one is very popular. I've heard good things. The premise sounds interesting to me, and yeah, I'm curious to try a book by Riley Sager. I've never read anything by him. And yeah, this just sounds very good, and I feel like I'm trying to like catch up on some of the popular books from recent years, and this is one of them. The next one is Kai by Vaishnavi Patel. I've been reading some retellings of Greek mythology, and I would like to branch out into other kinds of mythology from different parts of the world. This is based on Hindu mythology, and it sounds very interesting to me, so I would like to read it. I would also like to read Gods of Jade and Shadow by Silvia Moreno Garcia, which is based on Mexican mythology, and yeah, it just sounds interesting to me, and I like mythological retellings, and I would like to read something other than Greek mythology. I still want to read more of the Greek mythology retellings as well, but yeah, I'm just branching out a little bit. Next on my list of books to read in 2025 is Women Talking by Miriam Toews. Like I said, I'm interested in communities with restrictions. I'm always interested in a feminist perspective in books, and this one just seems very interesting to me, and I've heard good things. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this one. The next one is The Color Purple by Alice Walker. That is such a tongue twister to me. I've been aware of this book and of the movie adaptation for a long time, but I haven't read the book or seen the movie, and I just want to. It feels like required reading, and I find the topic interesting, and I don't really know a lot about the premise. But yeah, it's just a book that I want to read, and I want to have read it, and yeah, it's just one of those books that I would like to have read. And then I have Atonement by Ian McEwan. I've seen the movie adaptation of this and loved it a lot, and I want to read the book. Yep. I've seen copies of this in the charity shop, but they're always in the Swedish translation, and I would like to read it in English, so yeah, I'm gonna get that from my library. The next one I apparently forgot to mention when I was filming, but that is Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This is another popular book from recent years that I want to catch up on. I feel like it's a book that I might really like. It has elements of obsession and gender roles and photography. It just sounds like a darkly funny good time. The next one is Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. Again, I've heard good things. I love the cover. I love the premise. It sounds weird and mysterious and a bit creepy, but also like emotional and just a good story. And yeah, I'm very intrigued to read it. I'm very intrigued to try Julia Armfield as an author. I know she has another book that came out in 2024, Private Rights. I just have a feeling that it's an author that I might like, but I have nothing to base that on other than a cover and the premise and what other people have said. So I'm very intrigued to try it for myself. And then the last one on my list is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle. I saw this in a bookstore. I just fell in love with the cover. It has like the turquoise and the purple, and that it spoke to my soul. I love that cover. But I didn't buy it. I didn't know anything about it. And then when I looked it up, it turned out to be like a fantasy classic. And yeah, I just want to read it. And I hope I like it, because then I can buy it and then I can have that pretty cover on my shelves. Those are the 25 books I would like to read in 2025. I also have 5 more bonus books in case you're interested that I am also hoping to read in 2025, but we'll see. The first one is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I've never read anything by Stephen King, and I know this one is really long, but I've just heard that it's good and it sounds like a book that I might enjoy. I know Stephen King writes so many different things, but they just don't really intrigue me. I do want to read The Green Mile at some point, but like the horror stuff is not for me. But yeah, it just sounds intriguing to me, and so maybe I'll read it. We'll see. The next one is The Labyrinth of the Spirits by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is the 4th book in the Cemetery of Forgotten Books series, which I have read the first 3 books in. I might have to reread those before reading number 4. And there's also like a novella that's like 2.5, and there are short stories and all of that. We'll see. I would like to finish the series and possibly read other books by the same author because I really love his writing. But yeah, it's not a super high priority, but it is like on my radar. And then I have one more book that I own that I would like to read in 2025, and that is The House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. This is the sequel to The Miniaturist by Jessie Burton, and I loved that, and I would like to read the second book in the series or duology. I'm not sure if this is the last one or if there will be more, but yeah, I just want to read this. That's why I bought it. Okay. I would also like to read Masquerade by O.O. Sangoyomi. This is a retelling of Greek mythology, I think, but it's set in Africa in like the 1500s or something like that. I haven't been able to find it anywhere, like they don't have it at my library, and I haven't seen it in a store or anything like that, so we'll see. I would like to read it if I can. It's on my radar. It's not top priority, but it's on my list. And then the very last one is City of Laughter by Temim Frukter. This came out in January, I think, 2024, and it said in a review that it was like the most wonderfully Jewish book that they had read, and that just sounded very interesting to me, and I want to read that if I can. Again, I haven't seen it anywhere, but it's on my radar, and it's one that I would like to read if I can find it. Those are 25 books I would like to read in 2025. Hopefully I will get to all of them and more, but we will see. I look forward to next December when I can look back on this video and see how many of them I have checked off. Let me know in the comments if you also want to read any of the books that I have mentioned in 2025, or if you have another like top 3 or something priority books that you would like to read next year. I would love to know that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. And so yeah, that's why it's on my list, because I want to read it.